first podcast interview or video cast interview, but I have such terrible stage fright that like every time we get started, I'm like, ah! I mean, hell, I even illustrated it.
The introvert in me wonders what the hell I'm doing here, because it's like,
oh yeah, that's a thing. I stopped with my Twitch stream because introverted me was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
yeah, no, you can say fuck, it's okay. You don't have to censor yourself. Yeah, man, it's like and just knowing that it's not live right now, it's already like way more relaxed, you know what I mean? It's way more chill.
It's most comfortable green room I've ever been. There's all of the refreshments I want.
It's your green room in your house, right? Like exactly. That's the best green room. I have exactly everything I want and need. Yeah, that's the best. It's the best. It's so funny, man, because so it wasn't your first time. It was but like, was it your first live one, or are they always recorded? What's that like? No? You've done a few?
Yeah, I've done a few. I even had to do it, like, for each of those exhibitions you mentioned, I always have to do a interview of some sort with it. And those are the two of them that I've done. Those are like this, but they're audio only. And I have to usually go and meet with Pamela somewhere to do it. So our first one is hilarious because we met at a Panera. And it was too crowded inside, so we couldn't do the interview there. So we went outside. So you had all the cars driving by, people who were walking. Yeah. It just happened to be that Pamela was wearing gator colors. So this guy came out and was like, "Go Gators!" And she's like, "What? This is just Kenta cloth. I don't understand."
Yeah, you got to be careful. Those are like gang colors. You got to be real careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially around here. Like every now and then there'll be a truck with an FSU flag, and I'm just like, "What are you doing, man? Like, what? Like, do you have a death wish? Like, do you know where you are? This is the swamp, man. This is Gainesville. You can't have that here."
Oh, I've pissed people off by shouting, "Go sports ball" at them.
Go sports ball. Go sporting event with thing.
Which team are you rooting for? The one I'm sitting at.
Yeah.
And maybe the winner.
The one with the best uniform, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, I will absolutely root for the neon colors. I fucking love them.
Yeah, it's funny because like I'm not a big sports guy. Like I can get into like MMA and stuff like that because I train jiu-jitsu a little bit, whatever. But I'm not a big sports guy. And so every once in a while I'll run into one of the boys and they want to know like, "Hey man, like what's your team or whatever?" And I'm like, dude, I find football in particular so boring. And I know that like grinds everyone's gears when I say it, but it's so boring. Everybody line up. Okay, line up. Everybody ready? Go. Stop. Line up again. All right, everybody ready? Go. Stop. Line up again. I'm like, stop it. It's so annoying. Let them do it.
I will say, so I've been brought to games and never American football. The Orlando City Soccer. Fuck, that's a fun time.
That's the difference of being in the crowd. The crowd, like that's energy. That's like going to a concert. Like you're all on the same vibration. Like that's a whole other thing. But sitting at home and watching it on TV, like no.
Oh, I can't. No. It just no.
All the electricity's gone. You know what I mean? Like there's just nothing there for me.
Yeah, the Super Bowl. I
never know who's playing. I could care less. Like it never. I always like find out later what happened in the halftime show, and that's
Puppy Bowl was probably the best thing that has ever come out on television.
Puppy Bowl.
The Puppy Bowl, because Animal Planet will do a Puppy Bowl instead of the Super Bowl, and it's
hilarious.
What hours and hours, forever, however long the Super Bowl is running, it's puppies running on a little tiny field, just mauling each other and barking and there's balls there, but they're doing what dogs do.
That's hilarious. Oh my god, it's so great that like people in positions of power for broadcasting are like
Came up with that.
puppies. It's the only way to compete with the
And then
Super
the
Bowl.
halftime show, they
Puppies.
put kittens on the field.
Oh my God. Halftime show. I had no idea this was going on. I'm gonna have to put it on next year. That's dope.
It's my favorite.
That's so funny. Oh man. All right. So, what
Sorry,
what?
I'm gonna try to finish this coffee.
Go for it. Go for it. What's your day to day like? With your projects and everything. Like,
Okay, done.
you mentioned you're a mom. You
cut out.
Did I? Can you hear me now? No. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Maybe it's on your side because I think I'm okay over here.
Still can't hear you.
How about now?
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
You
don't
sounded
know.
like a robot with the music on. I was like, oh god, I hope that's the music doing that, not him.
I don't know how to. I don't know how I fixed it, but I'm just glad it's fixed. I don't know.
Technology gremlins, man.
I guess. All right. So, I was asking you about like your creative process, your routine, and how it all fits in with life. Because you're a mom, you got things going on. So, talk to me about that. How do you get things done? How do you meet deadlines? What's that like?
Well, actually, my daughter going to public school is the best freaking thing because I do it while she's at school.
You got one up on me on that one.
Yeah. Well, they'll get to a point where they can sort of self-direct with their school stuff too. Let's see. You mentioned that you were with Florida Virtual School. Is that right?
We are with what's it called? Unschooling. Unschooling.
Oh, okay.
Which is another another version
Right.
that they do here in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. We went with Florida Virtual School because I knew about it from my military friends because
Cool.
It was actually created for the military families.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My son was recently diagnosed with he's on the autism spectrum, and we were able to then get a scholarship for him,
Oh, cool.
which is helping to pay for a lot of these like activities and stuff that we're now adding into his education through this unschooling thing. It's pretty wild how you can like craft it yourself now, put it together however you need it.
Right. So, yeah. So you guys are the teachers for that then.
Exactly.
Right. With Florida Virtual School, there's like 3 different variants on this curriculum that you could go with, and they actually had live teachers where they I think they did use Zoom.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I honestly can't remember. It's been a minute. But so my daughter would have a structured class day with different teachers who she would sit with, for a good chunk of time, and I would get work done then too. So
That's what's up.
yeah.
So, how long did it take for World of Savoa to go from idea to published work? What was that timeline like?
Oh gosh. So I
Because you're doing it while your kid is at school, it sounds like, right?
Yeah. Now, but I've been working on this since high school. Like it was my for fun comic in my book, and in my sketchbooks, and my friends would ask me questions about it, and then I would go and work on it some more, and to answer their questions because it was just easier than trying to talk. And then, like I said, when I decided to go semi-professional with that, I redrew it into the comic form. With the novels, when did I? The first novel came out in 2017, So
Oh, okay. It's not too long
yeah,
ago.
no. And then I had worked on it for I think 3 years before that. Um,
Yeah, this one took me
no,
3 years,
maybe longer.
so that makes sense.
I actually think it was longer.
Yeah,
I can't do the math. I'm.
it's okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mentioned that I tried to do that graphic novel with some buddies, and one of them being an artist, but the rest of us, we were all in the writers' room, coming up with the story together, and and it fell on me to write the scripts. And at the time, I hadn't written anything before. Like I was just shooting ideas
Oh.
around in a room with some friends. I mean, I've written all my life, but I hadn't written a story or a script or anything complete like that.
Oh, scripts
And
are a thing.
and scripts are a thing, and then scripts for a graphic novel are a whole other thing, because there's not even a solid roadmap for that anywhere, because every comic book writer does it completely different, every single one. Just
Yeah.
and then sometimes they'll even do it differently based on the artist. What are the artist's strengths that I need to leave room for him to play in, and what are his weaknesses that I have to really give detail in, and like all of these things that come into it. And me, a brand new writer who had never done any of this before, is trying to write this urban fantasy epic with my friends. And when we set out to write it, the first thing we said was, there's no reason to even try doing this unless it's going to be something that belongs up on a shelf with Watchmen and The Long Halloween.
Oh, that's some ambition.
And the Sandman. Right, exactly. Like we were kids, like going like, yeah, man, it's gonna be the best thing ever. And so like once the scripts fell to me to write, the pressure of that and having their names attached to my work and all this kind of stuff, like I tooled around with those scripts for 7 years and never finished them.
Oof.
And instead put them aside and instead did this, because this is just me writing a novel by myself, no other names. It's just my thing, and I'm putting it out there. And then if it wins or fails, whatever, that's on me. No, I'm not taking anybody down with me, and I'm getting experience, and I'm learning to write, and I'm finishing a thing, and like
Man.
I have big plans for going back to that graphic novel idea later. But for now, like, this is as hard as it is to do a novel. It's much more doable for me than putting a graphic novel together right now. So I give big ups to anybody who pulls it off, yourself included.
Yeah, well, like it's a third the work, so yeah, I get you.
Especially when you do it right, artists that like really have half of the creative force behind a graphic novel. Like your Dave Gibbons, when he got together with Alan Moore on Watchmen. It's not Alan Moore's Watchmen. It's Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' Watchmen. You know what I mean? So like that, there's a partnership that goes into that.
Absolutely. And I wish I could speak more on collaborative efforts, but I just did it on myself.
But that's what makes yours unique. Exactly.
Yeah,
the fact that you can go ahead and just do both sides of it yourself. I admire that so much. I wish that I had any kind of artistic talent in that sense. In drawing, I can write, but drawing is not my strong suit, and I can trace like a motherfucker, but I don't know how to draw.
Well, I guess to go on that, if I were to so going into the novel, I was just like, I don't know how to write. So, I hired an editor to absolutely make sure that I polished off my work, and I
very smart.
Oh God, Patty was such a godsend. I love her. But
big ups to Patty.
Big ups to Patty, man. Because honestly, I took this story that I was, pretty comfortable with, after lots of people, feedback and review and back and forth. But I think I can confidently say that it wouldn't have won an award if it weren't for Patty. So.
All right, Patty.
Yeah, go Patty.
Patty.
With that mindset, I kind of wish I had that mindset, that I need help mindset, when I decided to do the comic, because knowing what I know now, if I go back to doing it, as a comic or whatever, I would absolutely bring at least a letterer onto the team.
Yeah.
Because like
Start getting that dimension in the in the artwork where you have multiple kind of people like doing adding their flair to it, you know, because
well, the thing
pencils
with the
by Jim
letterers,
Lee look different based on whatever inker touches him, you know.
right? Well, like take Neil Gaiman for example, the Sandman. He's a wordy motherfucker,
Yeah,
and
he is a wordy motherfucker. That's true.
yeah, and there are points in the Sandman where his wordiness really hinders the flow. And when I got my critiques back from what comic company was that? I don't remember which comic company it was at the moment. One of the big five. When I got my critique back from them, they were like, "Yeah, it doesn't flow so good," and I'm like, "Okay, noted." And I never, I tried making it flow better moving forward, like I said, but it wasn't a good enough for them. And it's true. So like a good letterer will be able to take a look at the script and go, yeah, that's not going to fit in the panel. So you're going to have to break this out and, make more panels or condense what you've written. So, and this is all before it even gets to the drawn stage. So yeah, if I could go back in time, I would tell myself 100% hire a letterer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that meant a lot to me when I got into writing the novel, was filling those places where I did not have the necessary expertise. I made sure that I hired an editor to edit my novel. Wow. Yeah. And got my critique partners going, got the beta readers going. I went through it all, and still it needed another round of proofreading. Like I really should have given it just one more round, because like I'll go through it now and I'm like, fuck, look at all these fucking typos everywhere. It's it's just one of those things. There's always gonna be typos, but yeah, like you always want to put like your best foot forward with that stuff. And I've talked to so many indie authors who are like, well, I didn't need to hire an editor. I just used Grammarly.
Every time I hear that, I'm just like, you're why we get such a bad rap stuff.
I'm saying, and it's like, and dude, and it's nothing against them. Like, it's not that they're a bad writer. We all need these editors. We all need these proofreaders. Neil Gaiman is one of the greatest authors of his generation. He needs editors, and still, like in his best works, you'll find typos. He's, none of us are gods, man. Like,
I love running into typos with Stephen King stuff.
Oh, and it's not just typos. That's the thing, we throw that word around, and indie authors will sometimes be confused, thinking that that's the only thing we're looking for. And it's like, nah, man, you need them to help develop your story, to help you with the flow of your words and your sentences. And like, there's a whole thing that goes into that stuff that
absolutely.
You learn over time, but you don't know it the first time out, man. Like,
yeah. So Patty,
big ups to Patty.
She, when she got started, she was just like, so, she found something that I did stylistically that was a little out of my norm. Like it didn't line up style wise. And I was like, oh, well, it's because I went and looked in the AP style guide to see, how that would go. And she's like, oh, okay, well, AP style guide is for journalism. We're going with Oxford. And I was just like, or I don't know, Cambridge. I'm sorry. We're going with Cambridge. And I was like, okay. And then she went and showed me this thick, like super thick book that is the Cambridge style guide. And I was just like, oh. And she's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I have that memorized. I'm like, what?
All right. So Patty's a real one.
Patty is hands down, yeah.
Patty's a real one. Yo, the same thing happened to me. I had this thing that I did in my novel that I was really excited for readers to get to, because I thought, oh, this is going to be the thing that everybody talks about. People talk about M. Night Shyamalan's big twist in The Sixth Sense. They're going to talk about this chapter. That's how big it's going to be. And the whole idea was that while the entire rest of the novel is in third person limited, this
Oh,
one
no.
chapter, I
Oh,
know,
no.
this
Oh,
one
no.
chapter would be the point of view of my villain. And I would do it in first person because I want to put the reader in the mind of the killer, and it's going to be amazing. And my editor read it, was like, nope. Change the whole chapter to third person or get rid of it. and you know, I struggled a little, I thrashed a little, but in the end, I did cut that damn chapter. It was the best thing for it. I cut the whole thing, and any reveals that I needed from it, I tried to put elsewhere in the story, and that just had to be that because my editor was right.
Oh God, I did a perspective shift, and it wasn't the the style of writing; it was a character perspective, and because it's easy. You have one chapter from one character's you have one chapter from one character's point of view, and then you have another chapter from another character's point of view and stuff.
Cool.
The general rule or idea is that you do not switch point of views
inside each chapter. Yeah.
or even in the segment. Like, you can use the asterisk to divide it out, but I was just like, no, I have to do it. I have to do a point of view switch here. And so I labored over that 3 paragraphs for so long. And I got it to work. It works really well. And Patty was like, yay, like
yeah. The relief.
None of my readers,
the weight off the shoulders. Oh,
exactly.
Thank you.
Now, the thing is like, that was the hardest part for me to write in that first book, and none of my readers have ever noticed. And that's just a testament to how well I did. So
same. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, those little victories, man. Some I'm learning that part of the magic of being an author is these little wins that nobody really knows about.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's oh man, because there've already been a couple of times where not readers out there, but readers close to me, a friend or family member, will ask questions about it because they read it and they're excited about the characters, and it's a series, so there are questions left unanswered, so they have questions, and they'll ask me what a certain character is. Like, they're like, I know that they're not just a regular human, there's something else. What are they? And I love doing that whole, like, the secret of Jon Snow's mother is hidden in the first book. Like, you all the information is there. You just have to, like, find it. It's all there. And I'm like, all the information is there. Like, I'm not going to reveal what she is until later, but all the information you need to guess is in that first book. And for those people close to me who I don't mind explaining to them, and I don't mind giving them the answer, like seeing their face like, oh my God, that's so obvious. And I'm like, yes, it is so obvious. And you didn't get it. That's me. I win.
So, and that is why I'm not a pantser. I can't, I have to work in a framework because I am going to do foreshadowing. So it's necessary.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot in this book that becomes important in this book, and then there's even stuff in this book that gets referenced in this book. So
the nature of a series, baby. That's awesome. And it's fun because, like, one of the ways that I found to pull something like that off, I learned it from, like, thriller books, where, like, they'll give you the answer early on, but you don't know that it's a question yet, so you don't understand that they just gave you the answer, and then later on they give you the question, and you're puzzled over it, but you already know the answer. You just got to go back, and that's kind of where I was coming from with that. And it's just so fun to play with that kind of stuff and to find out whether or not they're catching on to it. I'm looking forward to the day where somebody walks up and just knows it, like, and tells, oh, you know who Jon Snow's mother is, like, it's gonna be like something like
that. I would love to be on a level where my readers are coming up with fan theories, so I
Oh,
can be like, that's right or that's not, but I'm not going to
yeah.
say anything.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to someday in the far, far, far future is fan art. Once people start like drawing my characters, I think I'm just gonna die of happiness. Like I can't wait for
Aw.
something like that to happen. I'm really looking forward to that. You know, nowadays I'm still in the honeymoon phase, so like a review will go up, and I'm like, ooh, it's a review, and I go and I check it, and even if it's scathing, I'm like, yay, I got a review.
Oh my god! I would actually be happy for a scathing review at this point.
Right? They're so hard to come by. Like, why won't you people just review the book? We're not asking for much. Just say this book was good. That's it. That's a whole review. That's all you need.
Well, don't. I don't know, because like I said, my book went really far, and I think because of Patty again. I don't have anything. Yeah. I don't have anything other than 5-star reviews.
That's what's up.
Amazon. It's in theory wonderful, but now everybody thinks it's a fake book listing.
See, I had nothing but 5 reviews for the first 4 or 5 reviews that existed, and then I got my first 1-star review, and I was like, "Oh boy, that's what that feels like."
Let me tell you, I absolutely would have.
Oh no!
If I could make another Amazon account and go and review my book, I would give myself a 1-star review and say she's a bitch.
Yeah, just to put a little pepper in the salt there. Yeah, I get you. You.
Well, that and there's it's kind of getting throttled in the algorithm because of it too. Like it got flagged as spam or fraud,
because it only
fraudulent.
has 5-star reviews.
Mm-hmm.
That's lame.
So it is lame. It really frustrating because it's like, well, it can't be a real book. So
yeah,
Amazon is just
Amazon's gonna Amazon.
Amazon's gonna Amazon. So it's all right, I guess. Like ultimately, my marketing plan, my release plan with all of this was sell it at the conventions. And that way you can do fan art for yourself and sell your fan art for yourself. And just because somewhere down the line the rights holders are going to hit one of these, like MegaCon, Disney's going to hit MegaCon and be like, nope, 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 and kick a whole bunch of people out, and I'm going to be like, I'm all me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. How hard was it to get a table at MegaCon? Like, is it expensive? I haven't tried on this side of things. I've always gone as a patron. Is it a pain in the ass? Like, what's MegaCon like? A pain in the ass. All right, good.
Yeah, massively.
That's great. Because I want to go, but I don't want a pain in the ass.
Right. Well, it's like these types of shows are all a pain in the ass, especially lately because during the pandemic, a whole lot of people found their calling in the creative world, and I love that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so now I've got a lot of competition.
But we're everywhere now. Yeah,
right. A lot of competition to get in. With MegaCon, there's a benefit to getting into MegaCon at all. Having a table there one time, you can take and pay for the next year's table at that show. So it's called Pioneer. I don't remember what it's called, but so I'm going to MegaCon this year because I paid for my table last year, and so now that I'm in, which is good.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, it's more money in their pocket quicker. Like, I get why they're doing that, but
yeah,
it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, getting into other shows has been really hard because again, there's so many people applying, and I really don't know what the metrics are for the juried shows anymore. Because when I started applying for juried shows, there was a heavy preference for original works, specifically for the reason of if the rights holders show up, the convention's not going to get in trouble.
And just so
So
I understand what you're talking about, when you say
yeah,
juried show, my assumption is that means people, there's like a committee or something that has to
yeah,
like
yeah,
approve of each. I got you. Okay,
right,
continue. Yes.
yeah. So me doing all original work for
Mm.
stuff that I own the rights to, you know, used to get me into those shows pretty easily. But in the last couple of years, I've been turned away, and I'll go to the conventions to scope it out and be like, "So who got in?" Well, I didn't, and there's a lot of fan art, and I'm like, "Did you get in with the fan art, or how did this work? Why was I turned away?"
Fan art. And
Yeah.
see, that's such an interest. Well, no, because it's like I know that I've seen artists at MegaCon and other conventions like it do artwork, commission. They're at the table and they're doing other people's characters. They're the person paid for a Batman, so you draw a Batman, even if you're
Oh,
not
see,
a
that's
DC.
okay.
Like
Yeah,
I
that
get
I'm
that,
okay with.
but when you say
Yeah.
fan art, you mean to say that they've created some sort of piece of artwork about something that they love, some other show or movie or whatever, and they're selling that.
Mm-hmm.
See
Yeah,
that
exactly.
that's interesting. That seems like it would be, copyright wishy washy,
Yeah.
borderline unethical. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
how that
I mean,
works.
you're not wrong.
I don't know how that
um,
works.
yeah.
That's
I mean, I can
interesting.
appreciate people drawing fan art, because they're a fan. Like, that's what it implies. You're doing this image
Yeah.
because you're a fan of it.
Yeah, but
So,
then to sell that, yeah,
right.
that's
And
weird.
people have turned around and will do more than that. Like, we'll just take Pokemon, for example. There are people out there whose entire inventory at their tables is, you know, a single draw, their drawings of all the Pokemon, and not in like one drawing where it's, they're interacting and it's cool. It's just an image. It may as well be the official art, but it's not. And, they slap it on
Yeah.
keychains, they slap it on stickers, and then, just, I don't know. I,
Yeah, I've seen that stuff too. You see that at like flea markets and stuff a lot too.
yeah. And
It's interesting.
I've heard Artist Alley at conventions, particularly MegaCon's Artist Alley. I've heard it called the flea market before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wild. Huh. Okay. Well,
So,
it's a fascinating topic. It's something that I want to get into more and more, because that Orlando Reads Books was my first convention as a bookseller, as an author, as a professional. It was my first time, and
it
so
was a great show.
it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I sold some
Exactly. I learned
books.
so much.
I sold way more books than I expected to sell, less than I had hoped to sell, but more than I expected to. So I put that in the win column. Overall, like it was a very positive experience. There were, as you say, little frustrations here and there, things that you
Oh, yeah.
wish were done better, could have been done better, etc. But we'll figure that out as we go, I guess. But it was a very interesting one. I liked the emphasis on putting the readers with the authors. I found that to be
Yes.
very, very cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I liked that the readers could attend the same panels that we did, and give us something to talk about with each other.
Yeah,
Too. So this
yeah, for sure.
Orlando Reads Books was my third such book. Nope, that's not right. Whatever. Like, it was my actually I think fifth such book show, and I really really like that format of you know there's the workshops and the panels and lectures for the authors, and the readers get to go in on it. There was another show that I did in Tampa that I kind of wish Orlando Reads Books also implemented an aspect of. So they had their guest authors who they came and they talked about their books and the like your podcast here actually.
Sure.
So they came in and they talked about their books and the special situations that led to them or whatever. And like they talked like that to both the readers and the authors. So, we'll take, one of the situations there, for example. One of the authors presenting was this gentleman who cannot eat food. He's allergic to food.
What? All food?
Yeah, all food.
How does that work?
He has to live through a little bag that's mounted to his intestines, and it just feeds. Basically, he gets fed intravenously.
Yes. Wow.
And so he, talked. He explained to us, how they discovered this, what they did to, cope with it. He basically invented this drink that he could handle, even though it wasn't great. And, just continued on with that. Well, coincidentally, literally the night before, a friend of mine who is a social worker, yeah, she was a social worker. She ran into a situation where one of the little girls that her facility took care or handled, she also developed an allergy to all food.
What?
And so, yeah, and she posted about it, and she's like, I have no idea what to do to help this girl. She's so sweet. She's so, a precious little girl who's allergic to all food. She's just starving to death. And I was like,
wild.
So when that guy
I've never
got
heard
up there,
of that. I've never heard of such a thing.
Me either. And it's so rare that whatever that condition is was named after the guy who was giving the presentation at the book show that I was at. And I'm like,
that's
yeah, exactly. So what I did was I was just like, I immediately went, can I put my friend in contact with you? Because we just found out this little girl has this too. Yeah. And so he was like, oh yeah, absolutely. So I gave his contact information to my friend, who took and gave it to the little girl, and they're now best friends.
Wow.
And he's essentially saved her life. So.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's bananas. Yeah. Allergic to food. I'm mind blown right now. I'm going to research the hell out of that. That's crazy. So many story ideas. I know that that's cold to say, but as authors, that's what happens. You get so many story ideas. I'm glad that the little girl is fine, and that's why I can say so many story ideas.
Yeah. And I mean, just I like, that's like I was saying. I love Orlando Reed's books, and that it was, all for helping authors. But I would like to have some of that just general, presentation there too.
Yeah, that'd be cool too, for sure. Right on. Well, Miss Heather Scott, you have been a lovely guest. I cannot wait to delve into your books. I'm going to pick some up. I'm going to look through them. I can't wait to read them. Well, to be honest, I can't wait to add them to my to-be-read pile, and then eventually someday.
We're in the same boat there. Your book is actually in my to-be-read pile. It's just not there yet. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Thank you very much. I do remember. I forgot that you had picked one of those up. Awesome. Yes, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. I just yesterday heard from another first-time reader that finished it, and it's so fun to hear, because it still is a rare enough occurrence for me that it's so
I don't
fun.
think that it I don't think that the high that comes with that ever goes away.
That's good. That's good to hear.
I had a girl who she picked up my book and decided that since she had my instant messenger information, she was just going to give me her reactions as she read. So Beautiful. It's a multi-page document at this point, but it was so fun to just read her reactions to every little scene.
Yeah. Mine happened to the person I'm referring to had a paperback book, a paperback copy. So that wasn't something that they were sending me all the time, but
Oh wow.
like they messaged me when they were like 2 or 3 chapters from the end, like all the crazy stuff was happening, and like
Oh
characters were coming to ends and things like that, and like she was all sure that I was going to kill a particular character, and me knowing like everything that was about to happen was just like like but yeah, I'm like, yeah, keep it, we'll talk after you get to the epilogue. We'll talk after the epilogue, because I don't want,
okay.
to say anything about that yet. No
Okay,
spoilers.
so you did the epilogue. So that was one of the things that I found when I was like trying to learn to read. I was just like, I like prologues, so I wrote a prologue, and then like
Yeah.
everything I found later is like, don't do prologues. And I'm like,
I
okay.
love
And so they were like,
prologues.
just make it chapter 1, and I'm like,
No,
okay. So chapter
I
1 in my book is actually a prologue.
there is a place for prologues. I'm a firm believer in prologues and epilogues, especially when you're doing a series. I think they should almost be mandatory if you're doing a series. If you're doing a standalone book, do whatever the hell you want. But if this is a series, we might need a little bit of a catch up as to what happened before. We might need a little more like scene resetting, or we might need a little at the end, a little setup of what's to come, a little come back if you're interested in this kind of thing. Like there's functional
Yeah.
properties to epilogues and prologues. Now, here's the thing, though. I first wrote this as a short story, and by the time I was getting to the end of writing it as a short story, I realized, oh, this is a novel, and I wrote it into a full novel. And about 3/4 of the way into the novel, not even, maybe like halfway into writing the novel, I was like, oh, this is a series. I'm writing a whole series. Okay. So like it kept growing. And so the
Yeah.
short story became the prologue. But it was originally meant as a short story, so it's 10,000 words.
Oh wow.
It's too big. That's too big of a
Yeah.
prologue. People are going to check out of that. So I broke it out of the novel, and it stands alone as its own thing with some sample chapters from the novel to help get people there. But the novel itself starts at chapter 1.
Yeah,
But
gotcha.
for the hardcover, I'm going to put it back in.
Oh yeah,
Because
cool.
it's one of those like it'll be a special edition or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
Like
can't wait till I can get to the stage where I'm doing an omnibus.
oh my god, or a box
Yeah.
set. Like once I finish the
Yeah.
trilogy with some short story collections in between as well, like put out a box set. That's gonna be nice. That's gonna be nice.
Yeah. Oh, I already did a box set. I was like, well, I have all this art, so we'll just put all the art in the box too. So
Yeah.
each book has its own box set.
The artist that I hired to do my cover, she came recommended by another indie author that I know, and that indie author, while she's doing my cover, that indie author is showing me, oh, this is what she's working on for me, and it's
Oh wow.
and it's like she has a book coming out, right? And
Yeah.
for each like each chapter break has a whole like piece of art that
Yeah.
is, but it's like the background of the page, it like bleeds into the words and stuff
Oh,
like
that's
that.
really
And
cool.
oh, it's so nice and it's like the background's like
Yeah.
really classy, and the artwork is amazing, and I'm there like sitting there like, oh my god, I need to do a hardcover. Yes, beautiful. I need to do a hardcover. I need to have like all that. Like I immediately wanted to do all of that because it looked so good. And then there was a few authors out there who, well, I have a copy of the Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman.
Oh yeah, that's a wonderful book.
He does that too, where he'll have the images and they sort of bleed into the pages with the writing and everything, which is pretty nice.
I
I
didn't
like what that
bleed,
does.
but I wanted to. It's funny because like when I started doing I did the artwork for Morning first because I wanted to have something to go with the the shorts that I was posting to Patreon.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, well, I want to do an illustrated edition of Sunrise, and really quickly learned that was again something that takes too long for me.
So much of my journey as a writer is like I can do that, no problem, and then you learn, oh, it's a problem. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of angles.
So instead of doing bleeds, I just did standalone images, and eventually I could cram them into the book. for like a special edition hardcover or something like that. But they would be kind of like how Stephen King did the re-releases of The Dark Tower with Michael Whalen's art, where at the end of the chapter there was the artwork. So that's how I can, that's how I can do it. So they would take up a full page.
Creepy images in that series. Oh my god.
Yeah. Such a good series.
Okay.